Good morning. My name is Diane Sisano, and I come to you from the Healing Home, which is my website. And I will give you a link, and you can go there and you can see all the things that I do to help young adults, teens, and adults, people in any phase of their life. Today, I'm going to be talking and having a discussion about teens and anxiety. Um, the symptoms and hopefully the healing techniques that you can use in your home with your child and also apply to yourself. So, the first one that we're going to cover is who I am, so you can know that I am qualified to speak on such subjects. I am a board certified neurolinguistic practitioner. I'm also trained and certified and board certified in timeline therapy and also hypnotherapy. And it gives a really good description and understanding in my profile on my website, the Healing Home. I am also certified as a board certified transformational and life coach. I help in relationships. I help children in from the ages of 7 on up to 60 and better of clients that I've had and do have. I have worked with some well-known people in the industry. Um, Helping them also cope with imposter syndrome. So I have a wide spectrum of modalities and issues that people have dealt with. So I don't talk about something that I personally have not experienced because I feel that as a person, you can read plenty of books and get certifications and um, a lot of knowledge, but the best knowledge is actually having to experience these things yourself so you can connect with your client and you actually can understand what they're going through in their life. And I've raised 3 children and I have 5 grandchildren. So I have a wide spectrum of knowledge within this field. And it gives me great pleasure in being able to help your child and help the child themselves to get their to get coping skills and tools to make them feel safe and once again go back into the world and feel comfortable in being there. So as of that, we will get going. um, I will say I love my profession, and as I grew into it. I realized that this is my purpose in life. So when I speak and keep an open mind, I know that this is real and what you feel is real also. So don't think that, if you're feeling something that makes you feel uncomfortable, that it's not real. Um, Acknowledge your feelings because that's the first step in healing with parents and with children because children don't believe or teens don't believe that what they feel at times is normal to say because most people can hide their feelings and they don't address it. So, we teach our children that, if something is going on, yeah, we say speak about it, but are we really having them speak about the truth that's within them that's causing an anxiety? Or we tend to say that it's going to be okay, you're just having a bad day. So, as a parent myself, I've done this and I can say is that your child has a voice, and that voice is them, which is representing them. So be open to what they're saying. And there's no judgment here when I speak, but as speaking as a parent um, and being trained in these areas, I know that um, we impose our beliefs on our children, and that is taking away their voice. So in that respect, just be open to what they say and don't judge them. Don't judge yourself either. So I hope these tools that I give you today will help you help your children and help yourself also. In America today, we know that the rate of this condition has risen dramatically. It stresses that lead to anxiety. However, teens today experience a higher level of anxiety and it worsens over time, and they definitely need help with a therapist. Children tend to not speak fully, they go all around. Um, because it's hard for them to verbalize or vocalize what they're truly feeling within themselves. So it's not it's not what they're saying, it's what they're not saying is where the concern comes in for therapists such as myself and others. Um, the biggest one that I saw during the pandemic and now, because the children will be going back to school, especially the high schoolers are having a really hard time dealing with the resocialization back into society. And it's called GAD, which is an acronym for Generalized Anxiety Disorder. And this primary type of disorder in teens is seen in the primary years. Children as young as 6 to 7 that I've experienced this, and a full onset is recognized by the early teens. So they've picked up these habits of um, pretty much hiding what they're feeling because they don't know how to articulate the words. So, you know how, like, if you take them somewhere and they hide behind you, or they cry, or they become disruptive, you know, that's initially it's being unable to control and verbalize what they are feeling or how they can express it to you. So here are six indicators that you can see if symptoms, if you'd like, children that have generalized anxiety disorder. Number one, they have the inability to control worry, fear, and stress. And sometimes they can be aggressive. They can strike out. Um, and this is usually in the younger ones, or they seclude themselves in their room, is because they're not knowing how to talk about what they're feeling, because to them they think that it's not normal as society has deemed it. If you feel anything other than your friends feel, then you're not normal. Two, general tiredness or fatigue is usually a really good indicator also in teens. They cannot focus or concentrate. It would be number three. Number four is not sleeping or having difficulty in sleeping. Number five, we can experience muscle tension and pain. And what I mean by this is that you'll usually see them with their shoulders riding up. Um, they'll have what I call pains, and they don't know why they're having these pains, like stomach aches, headaches. And this is all onset for holding in um, all these anxieties and stressors that they're going through. So their body is helping them in a way to acknowledge and help them be aware that something is going on, and now it's like attacking the body. So if your child experiences any kind of pains, um, um, major fatigue, headaches, they'll complain probably about their neck hurting, stomach aches. Sometimes they even tell you that they have leg pains and things like this. So this is all indicative of an anxiety disorder. It manifests into a physical pain because that's your body's way of trying to help you get help, basically. Excuse me. And number six is irritable and restless. And that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, and that's usually general. Those are the things that I've discovered when I work with people that under the general anxiety disorder, that is the symptoms that they presented most of the time. There are more, but that's the most telltale signs that I can tell if someone is having general anxiety disorder. Okay, and then we go into social anxiety, and this is what I have in the young adults that I have in my practice now that are experiencing this, not only going through the pandemic with them, but also seeing them having to be reacquainted back into school full time, which is coming up. High schoolers, I have, excuse me, high schoolers, I have are experiencing this a lot, and people, boys and girls going into college or back to college, even though they were on that hybrid system, it still was. They have a disconnect now with their friends and with society in general, and it's like kind of like taking them for school and having to be reacquainted and feeling comfortable and safe going back out into the world, because don't forget they've absorbed the world into their being, and maybe we think that they understood 100% what was going on or what was talking, but actually they were absorbing in their home their parents' fear and anxiety, the world's fear and anxiety, the news media, people talking about all these things. So you just think as an adult how you felt going through all this. So can you imagine a teen or a young child experiencing this, and they don't have an outlet to had to or a place to talk about it with their friends, because they kept it hidden because they thought that, well, if I'm feeling this and they said it out loud, that it was going to happen to them, just like we do. Well, I'm not going to say this because if I say this out loud, it's going to happen to me. So this is what is happening now with the teens and young adults that I have that I'm helping. So social anxiety is probably the biggest one, I would say, that all children are dealing with. It's another disorder, oftentimes described as social phobia or fear of crowds, being out of familiar surroundings. This causes oftentimes teens to become embarrassed, being judged by their peers, having fear, overwhelming feelings in all these areas. This is the one, like I said, I see, especially now with the world opening back up and having to readjust to a new world. The old one, which was familiar to them, doesn't exist any longer. Even though you may say it does exist to children, it doesn't exist to them anymore, because they do have to reacquaint themselves to a new way of living, a new of adjusting. So, be kind to yourself and to them, because it's really dramatic for them. It's painful and sometimes can paralyze your child into wanting to re-enter society again. So, be gentle when and listen open-heartedly to what they're saying, because they are in a lot of fear and anxiety. So some of the symptoms I'll give you that may help you to recognize this. Number one is they have extreme sweating and nausea. They can become very shaky. Um, Telltale signs for you to tell us. You may not see it in the body, but you'll see it like the tremors in the hands. Sometimes they can start like with not being able to express themselves, or stuttering is another area. Flushing of their skin. You can notice that, like, it will rise up like in the chest region and in the face. Fear of performance, and especially in front of people. And that's a big one, is because it's like they feel like everything has changed. How do I adapt to this change? Because all I know was this, and now I have to be this. So that's one for social anxiety. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is anxiety attacks. And they are usually around the late teens. I've noticed this, to early adulthood, which are caused by external stressors. And what I mean by external stressors, that is that being put into a situation that induces stress for them, and that in turn will cause them to have anxiety attacks. Let me stress this, as an anxiety attack is a symptom of an anxiety disorder. Also, not everyone who experiences one has the disorder. Someone who will experience this is due to specific stressors in their life. They can experience one or all of these symptoms, and in this circumstance, they're usually short-lived, and once the stressor is removed or resolved, it's over, it's done with. So say like uh, let me think of an example for you. Like, say that they don't like to take tests. So that's a stressor for their body. So their body is going to react with these signs that I'll explain to you. So once they either take the test, then the stressor goes away and the anxiety attack goes away. Or if they have a fear, say, I don't know, a fear. I have a fear of bears, so I do get anxiety attacks. If we're in the zoo with my grandchildren and we're going to approach the cage where the bears are, I automatically, that's the stressor that is induced on me, is I can feel myself having an anxiety attack. But once I can turn or walk away, then the stress is taken away and the anxiety attack, goes away also. So the indicators of them having an anxiety attack, number one is a racing heart. Excuse me, cold sweats, dizzy and tingling in the extremities, um, or like a onset of fear or dread, and also lightheaded and or dizziness. It's like they're they're walking into an area, walking into something that they know is going to be, because it's the body's way of like an alarm bell. It's like that flight and fight. And their body's telling them to do one thing and they're being forced to do something else. So it's like there's a conflict within them. So this is what happens to them. Or what happens to anybody that is a full-blown, anxiety attack. So remember, once you take that stressor away, the anxiety attack will go away. Like people that have to get on an airplane, even though it's a phobia, they give themselves an anxiety attack because they're pre-thinking all these things are going to happen, the unknown, and they just go into a full-blown anxiety attack. And so once you tell them they don't have to go on the plane or whatever they do, the stress is taken away and the anxiety attack stops. So these are a few that I have covered here. You can contact me. We can talk about more of them or the symptoms your teens are experiencing, okay? How to recognize the anxiety in your child. Number one, their performance in school is lacking. You can buy indicators of their report cards, or they take a drastic decline in the report card. Their testing is poor. So that's number one. Number two is they lose interest in things that they liked, like, for example, sports, friends, music, and family time. Uh, Number three is their sleep is disturbed. They're not sleeping. They're failing in school and they're always tired. And why that is indicative of people, children especially, is because, like I said, it drains the energy. Anything that goes against the natural way of being in your life, just like if you have a friend that's around you, right? That all it does is this friend just constantly is negative, negative. So that's a barrage of energy that you're being hit with that pretty much sucks the life out of you. Well, this is what happens with anxiety. It's pretty much the same thing, is that your body doesn't know how to fight this off. You know, it's like your mental or emotional state is in a battle with your physical state. So maybe logically as a parent, you say, well, okay, get over it. It's just, okay, you're afraid of the bear. Well, just go past it. The bear's not going to bother you. But your mind's telling you, I am so scared of this bear that, they're not comprehending logically that, the bear is in the cage. He can't get out. He's not going to hurt you. That doesn't happen when you're having anxiety. It's like the worst of the worst thing is possibly happening. So it's like a protection agent. Your mind is saying this, right? And then it's like it can't take anymore. So then it physically attacks you in a way that it gives you physical ailments, to be aware, because you pay more attention to the physicality of yourself. if you have a headache, if you have a fever, if you have a cold, you're going to take a medicine, you're going to do something to make your body feel well. But what are you doing to help your emotional state, to feel better? So it's their way of helping each other, staying connected. It's kind of like sending out these signals that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So you're not paying attention to it. So then it's going to go to the racing heart, the sweating. So you're going to pay attention to the physical signs and symptoms that, that happen to you. Not eating, they change their habits of eating. They have dislike of foods for once they once really enjoyed. So, um, and usually I see that more in females, I want to say, with the food aspect of that. And not that there's, I mean, it can happen in both, but I see it more in the females with the food, because for some reason, even though I spoke to these young women that I take care of, is that I it's kind of like, to me, how they explained it to me. It's like they're feeling this way, but they're punishing themselves at the same time. Like they shouldn't feel these things because it's not normal. So instead of, trying to understand, which they don't, it's like they punish themselves by not wanting to have the things that give them enjoyment. It's just like, it's kind of like a punishment in a way. I mean, it sounds kind of out there, but that's what I've grasped from them as I spoke to them. And they don't even realize that it's a punishment. They just think that if they don't give them the things that they enjoy, it's like they're punishing the anxiety and not rewarding it in a way, if that makes sense. Okay. Number 5 is they avoid people and places that they once enjoyed. They get triggered with anxiety at once with things that were familiar to them. And so that's the big cue that I can tell you that's happening now with teens, is that once what was familiar is not any longer. And that comes with a fear. Have phobias along with that. So they start to find a way to self-medicate through alcohol, drugs, or recklessness. And the things that you don't think that your children once did before, which is really a good indicator, uh, they'll start doing things that they never done before. And not because they have, you know, a death wish, or they're doing this to get even with you, or they're rebelling. No, is that they don't understand, how this all came about in them. So the best way to do is to get rid of this, is to and and try and change, or not feel what it is that they're feeling, because they really don't know how to speak about this. So don't take it personal as a parent or a guardian, or, with anybody in your life. It's just a way that they're trying to cope with something that they don't want to cope with, or something that they don't understand. And as yourself, you also will experience this. So don't beat yourself up. Don't think you've done anything wrong. It's just being able to be open and have this conversation with anyone in your life, a friend, your child, your partner, one of your friends, whomever. Um, but when you do see these indicators, of someone trying to self-medicate through any of these means, that is a big warning sign um, that you can't leave this unaddressed, because obviously, when you're at that point, it's pretty bad. Um, how to help your child by doing these steps. Um, these are just a few of the things that I can give you that maybe that will help you and have helped, with the children that I take care of. You have to create a sleep time. And I know that may sound like, oh my God, yeah, I'm really going to get my teen to go to bed at 10 o'clock. Yeah, you really have to. You have to get them back into a structure and into better patterns than what they've created for themselves. Because remember, they're in that fight and flight mode, and anything that they do is just trying to bury it because they don't want to have to deal with that. So of course the normalcy of what you think or what they have lost is you have to get back to. And the first one is sleep, because when you are fully rested, you can deal with whatever comes in the morning when you wake up. When you're not rested, that's another thing that's fighting against your body and your emotions and mental stability. So sleep time, a routine, and stick to it. So, don't just say, well, go to bed at 10 o'clock. No, you need to have a conversation with your child and tell them that you're going to help them, you know, get back into a structure or into a routine to help them feel good and to feel safe. That's the biggest thing, parents. Understand this word. Your child does not feel safe at all. And anxiety causes this, that, your home is supposed to be your safe place. And they've lived in the home for over almost 2 years now. So it's become everything but that. All the media, all, the world has scared them even to a place that they call home where they thought they would feel safe. Um, so understand that. So let's recreate that safe place for them. Better choices in food. Nutrition is always a big one, especially, the gut health helps with the emotional health. It may not seem, or you may not understand that, but it does. So the emotional and gut is very beneficial to helping someone become emotionally healthy. Have compassion and empathy for anybody that's going through this, especially, and I'm sure all of you parents are going through this also. I know I did. And, I work with people, like this, and, I've had my fears and, and I had to learn how to readjust also. So surround them with people that truly, truly care about them. Um, they don't want to hear, you know, okay, get over it. You're 15, 16 years old, this just happened. Have that empathy and compassion for them. Understand that there's always another side that needs to be heard. And, you need to be that person that, you need to give them their space. You need to hold their space for them and allow them to express how they feel. Even if you can't understand it yourself, just by you listening to them and being open and having compassion will go a long way. Um, I also recommend meditation and mindfulness. Some children can't meditate. Some people can't meditate. All it is that you want to teach them to just be silent for a moment, to be able to let whatever there be able just to flow in and to flow out. And mindfulness is the same thing. And it will help them to reconnect with themselves and understand that it's okay to feel all these things, because now I have the tools to help me when I'm feeling this way. So it's a lot that, that has to flow through someone. And by ignoring the thoughts or ignoring the feelings or not acknowledging what you're feeling is not healthy. So just know that it's okay if you feel fear. It's okay if you're angry. It's okay to feel what you're feeling because it's real and it's true. So being mindful of what you're feeling or meditating on it is a good way to reconnect your whole being back into one place where it's like manageable for them. YouTube is a good place where you can find meditations for them. Um, and have them choose what sounds good to them, because sometimes if something doesn't sound good, the tonal and the vibration is what heals you. It's not necessarily the words, because I speak to people, but I also understand that, being a neurolinguistic practitioner, that it's not always the words, and being born an energy healer, it's the vibrational quality and tonal quality of how you say things to people. That's what, how when music makes you happy, makes you sad. Well, think of it that way when you speak. And that's what they need to. How does that meditation make me feel? Does it relax me or does it make me agitated? So you have to ask them, if they are going to do meditations, what feels good in you? Does her voice or does his voice feel good when you listen to it? Does it relax you? Does it make you feel safe? Ask the questions. And then that would be a good meditation for them. And a good time to meditate is, I usually say, before people sleep, because that is when you regenerate, that is when you heal. And listening to a meditation before you sleep presets the brain, and it helps you to heal within that time span, because as you sleep you heal and you regenerate. Different hours of your night span is, it goes through all parts of your body and your organs and it heals. So having that restful, quiet, safe feeling flow through you helps your body become healthy. um okay, all this being said earlier, all this being said earlier, I put, it's detected. If the sooner it's detected, the better it is for your child and yourself. This disorder is treatable and is successful. Getting a trained professional on board is recommended, usually for teens, because I know as a parent, it you just want to help your child. But I understand that, but you have to also understand that if you think that you can heal your child, you're doing a disservice to them, because they have to learn how to get these tools on board to help themselves. It's a great starting point with the communication and listening, and making them feel safe and having a safe place to come to. But usually when teens start going through this anxiety, it usually will blow up, and that's when usually it's recognizable, and it's time, it's time for a therapist or coach or whomever. But I always say, listen to the early signs to be preventative in this. As a child will not always feel comfortable in sharing with a parent. um, so remember that. Don't feel that you're a bad parent. Don't feel that you've done a disservice to your child. We all go through this as adults also. And don't beat yourself up, because when you do that, you're harming yourself also. And then in a way, you're sending out a vibration to your child that, that they've done something wrong to you. So just remember, there's help out there for everybody. And, just being, a forward thinker, or a parent that listens, you just know that children don't know how to express themselves. We as adults sometimes don't know how to express ourselves. So you do what you can, within your home to make your child feel safe. But dealing with this coming out of the pandemic, um, I've had an uptick in my practice with children, and and I've seen amazing results. Just to have a child go from being so closed down and not being able to talk, to getting on them on a Zoom call, and they're just like so excited to share their day and they're smiling and happy. That's what I live for, is to make an impact in children's lives like that. And to know that you can take that worry, off of the parents, that, you love your children so much and you don't want to see them suffer. And then again, you just don't know what to do. That's what we're here for. So you do have help. Um, I will add a link to this. So if you do need to reach out or want to schedule an appointment with me, I'm here for you. If there's any questions that you have that I can help you with, please send me an email. and we can discuss it. And as I said, love yourself. The things that you do for yourself, teach your children to do it for themselves also. So I hope this has helped. And it was my pleasure doing this for you. And I wish everybody to have a blessed day. And again, my name is Diane Sasano, and my website is The Healing Home. Y'all have a beautiful day. Thank you.